Yeah, QI echo map distractions. When I'm communicating to this black mirror. And so, yes, this is sort of part two. Part two, play two, record one. I'm Manu. Manu, the Unisci, the universe, the real universe, the first spin of a volcano, born out of a volcano, born out of an eternal sun, breathing with the first sun, right on time. And so when I got up this morning, hey, boy, that feels a lot better. I'm feeling a lot calmer. There is a lot less tension on the plates today. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's called a measurement, a metric, right? Like a meter, like a bi-voltage meter, right? Loss and gain. Hey, hey, hey. And so then as the day progressed, well, I'm out there and generating huge bands, circles of pink crystal wave. With the sun this morning, blue shield is all over the sky. Yeah. Boy, what a beautiful day. This is cool. So I came in the house, right? And I went to lie down, just be calm. And guess what happens as soon as I start? What a reaction state that comes later. First eternal sun, crystal wave. And then there's a reaction on their part, the negative reaction. The alien machinery reaction responds, right? So what happens? Well, the first thing that I noticed is when I came in and lied down, now the vibrator kicks in again. Down below on the big one. Then all the layers start to show up in the sky, right? And then you realize, that's called a reaction state, a nuclear reaction. The codes, the mathematical codes, 222 codes, right? And so yeah, and so that's what I share, particularly here on this island, on this rock. I mentioned this to Jeanette Neganobly, and it's true. It's a full-time job operating here on this island. Absolutely. And it's an absolute honor to be here to do that. I did a mantra, or if you will, the Crystal River Prayer. Those of you that know the Crystal River Prayer, I did the Crystal River Prayer out here when I had my bare feet and my hands right on the rock, communicating down into the center of the earth, communicating with all the spirits, right? The inner core, the inner crystal core, the seven gold mated core, and declared this ground sacred, a sacred spiritual sanctuary, healing sanctuary. Because that's what I do. That's my job. That's a responsibility. Right? That's a contract, which is an electrical contract, which is a salvage mission contract. Right? Which is healing codes. Just like the other video that I did with about Divine Born Angel when she put that up on her channel about healers. Right? As that related to what happened during the Inquisition that Patty Broussard mentioned. Why that went down, the way that went down. You can translate that really easy into just a couple of movies that I saw when I was a kid growing up. Terminator, Rise of the Machines, RoboCops, Minority Report. Remember Minority Report? Just like the example that I gave about what happened when that technology, the blank slate technology, the 222 digital 666, wiped the memory screen, wiped the screen. Okay, of the data, the information that is in the mirror, just wiped it. And so it falsified data. It put false data back in there, false light data back in there, so that if the people that are running that company upon which they're getting the transaction of my electrical attention, upon which goes into their biometric blood bank account, right, at their bank with their magnetic strip card, right, because that's an exchange rate of speed, right, between one and the other, would go to their screen and go, hey, Robert, guess what? We're looking at all the orders that you filled, and according to the screen that we're looking at, which is a false light mirror, guess what? It's lying to us, but we don't know that. But the only information that we had to rely on is a pathological liar. Now, how do we know what's true or not true if the information in front of us is what we believe? We believe that the inflow of the data that is in our data stream is letting us know that your address is 20, box 20, because the only way that that box 20 address could have got in there is if you inputted it. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay? I can tell you who did. Okay? So you see what happens out of that? They believe something that's not true because they trust the system that is a liar. That's our blank slate technology. Which one are you? That's a trap. That's a quarantine trap, by the way. Echo maps. Always changing the echo maps. Which one are you? Translating the codes. Between false light mirrors, and real mirrors. The first mirror, the eternal mirror. Eternal sun. Air sign. Unse. Right? And so I had a little bit of fun with that. So you remember I shared what happened out of that? So when I go to report a war crime to a RoboCop, what do you think the reaction state of their cellular state of organization as a disorder follower to obey the rules responded? Calls another RoboCop. To do what? Check the mental status on somebody who's sane, who's experiencing what love is. As if reporting a crime, right, puts in their mind a question, there must be something wrong with you to check your mental status because you're reporting a crime. You're not supposed to report a crime. Because if you report a crime by exposing the crime, we're RoboCops. We're coming after you. Put you in a cage in a psychiatric ward like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is why coming in here, I'm back to 4 years of age, right? Navigating through what I call a mind field, the mental field. The psychopathic, pathogenic mental field is sick. That's the molester. That's the sexual energy molester because it doesn't have any feelings. That's why they're vampiric sexual energy predators. The procreation side of first creation, proto. See, that's why we all get tongue twisted over these little terms about inorganic, the inflow of organic. No, we really mean the opposite of that. Well, which one are you? The inflow or the return flow? I am one. So I don't experience any delay, so I don't experience any decay. That's what it means to serve the one. We're always on fire, experiencing cosmic fire, which is cosmic love, which is experiencing being one. I'm Anu. Yeah. And the challenge in this is trying to navigate with their mind to see if they can really get to know who you are. So now they trust you because they're experiencing you, which is what love is. Now they trust you telling the truth. And you can see how difficult this is when they're running all those programs. And you begin to expose all the programs, right? And what their reaction is going to be to you when you've done that. That's navigating. Now, with Mama, I call that the healing artist, is honing your navigation and communication skills. See, they don't want you exposing the crimes. Remember, shut up and dribble. Is that where we get into the double meaning? Like a 9-ball double diamond? If you're going to choose to expose us, you realize we're going to come after you. And we got all kinds of ways to put you away. I had a cop once when he stopped me, and I told him I was exposing the crime that he was doing. Guess what he did to me? He grabbed me by the throat. This is quite a story, actually, and I don't have time to share all of it. He grabbed me by the throat. He was strong enough, like a bull, like Market Street, like in the bull market. Grabbed him by the throat. And you know what he said to me? I guess I should tell it exactly the way he said it in those words: fuck your constitutional rights. He was wearing a star, a false light star, another RoboCop. Puts me in the backseat of the squad car, takes me down to the police station, right? And I told him I refuse to comply because I'm not gonna comply with a war criminal. Okay. And so as a result of that, because I'm not an order follower. I don't obey your rules. Your rules don't exist. You don't exist without me. So they brought out the recorder. This cop brought out the recorder, put it on the table, and said, okay, we're going to record your refusal to obey. Okay, that's fine with me. So guess what happened? Now, this is how cool the mathematics are on this, okay? The recorder was recording what I was saying, right, of the refusal to obey, right? So then another cop coming down the hallway is ready to take me to the Orange County Jail. Okay, hey, we're gonna take you, Robert, to the Orange County Jail. We gotta go, right? Now the recorder at the time is still going. In the meantime, the watch commander comes down. So you know what a 404 redirect is. Now that police officer's not paying attention. The recorder's still running. Just forgot about it. Just left it running, right? So while the recorder is still running, you have the watch commander coming down there talking to the cop that grabbed me by the throat, because the watch commander could hear what I was saying, okay, about what he did. The watch commander overheard that and wanted to know what's going on here. Why is this guy so upset? Why is he not obeying the orders? He's claiming that you assaulted him, right? So the cop that did that is telling the watch commander, yeah, he started talking about his constitutional right and all this. And remember, the recorder's going. It's all down on tape. The tape delay, the Mobius strip delay, the decay in the shield. So as it turned out, okay, later on down the road after I got out, and I went and got a highfalutin lawyer, and he happened to be a judge in another district courtroom, in a different courtroom. And this was driving under the influence of a demon, okay? So guess what happens? I'm taking this. We're gonna go to trial on this, okay? First of all, he did not have any authority to stop me because he doesn't exist, okay, without my electrical power. So start with that. So he stops me anyway, and he's holding me captive, kidnapping me, actually. Right? He's holding my energy captive. Okay, that's not lawful. That's not love as a law. Okay, so particularly when he wants to touch you. I'm pure. Do not touch me. Remember, back to 4 years of age, do not touch me if you're not pure. Okay, so I got a machine, a RoboCop machine, right? An order follower, a robot. So now you have this robot that's assaulting a spirit. So we finally get to court. We pick a jury, right? So you know how it is when the arguments, the victim and the victimizer. I'm now in the victim-victimizer quarantine courtroom. Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to make sure that what I want to say, they hear it in that jury, because once they become aware of it, they can't become unaware of it. Yeah. So the fact that they heard what I said, what do you think happened? Well, during the middle of that trial, actually it was before the last day of the trial. Okay. I'll give you the punchline on what the jury did, what they decided. That morning, before we were going to go into court, okay, I met my lawyer up in the cafeteria, okay? And when he had what they used to call a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed face, wide open. And he pulled out his recorder, And he said, guess what I got? I got a copy. He says, you remember that audio recording with you and the police officer? When you got back to the police station, wanted to record your refusal to obey? I got a copy of that. That's called discovery of the truth. Whoa, you got a copy of that? He said, yeah, guess what happened? This cop didn't realize that that recorder was still going when he was talking to the watch commander. And he was admitting what he did. Oh, man, wait till the jury hears that. Particularly if they believe in the U.S. Constitution. Now, do they believe in the U.S. Constitution is actually being real? Well, you know you have the negative 13 parasitic colonies, right? And Turtle Island. Put that in the historical picture. So what ends up happening is when he shows that me that morning, he says, we're going into the courtroom. And so he told me, he said, when I asked the prosecutor, because remember the prosecutor's got all this evidence, the prosecutor did not bother to listen to that recording because he could have destroyed it or thrown it away. But then again, he wants to use it as evidence against me. He was going to use the recording against me, but guess what? He didn't hear it. Tell me that isn't mathematical precision. Because had he heard it, he might not have wanted to used it. Then his argument, playing victimizer, might have been a different strategy, might have been a different AI strategy. Making errors in the strategy of a war game in a victimizer gaming operation. Oh, a military psychological AI gaming operation. Yeah. And so in this particular case, what ends up happening is I made sure certain things got out in that courtroom that jury would now hear. Once they've heard it, they heard it, right? In other words, making sure that you get it in there, because even if they object to it, doesn't matter, does it? As matter. So as it turned out, I hung the jury. So you know what it means to hang the jury. The noose. It's a hung jury. Put 12 people in a box, right? So that this is you see how this comes full circle, right? And what we call communication skills, which are navigation skills, to maintain your original memory, to maintain the original memory of the original one, the eternal one, the eternal Son, the silver gold mated one, the one I serve forever and always on duty. Yeah.